Call tonight's meeting of Monday, December 21st, 2020, at approximately 7 p.m. to order. Let the records reflect that all council members are present, along with our city administrator, Mr. Madden, and our city legal counsel, had to come up with the right term. Mr. Dugan is here, along with various departments heads and some members of the public, so appreciate you being here. Our invocation and pledge of allegiance tonight, Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, let us pray, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for the many blessings you have bestowed upon us in the midst of this crazy year. Lord, during the seasons of giving, please help us to remember to show love, kindness, patience, and understanding. Help us to be giving of our time and service to others in need. Lord, please guide us with your grace as we make decisions regarding our city. Help us to do our research and carefully consider what is best for the citizens and the city. Not only short term, but what the long-term effects will be related to our decisions. In Jesus' name I pray, amen. If you will stand, let's say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Ms. Kuzner. We welcome you to our meeting tonight in which we transact the business of the city of Mauldin. We appreciate you coming out and being here. And we have a fairly lengthy agenda tonight. Proclamations and presentations, we do not have any that I'm aware of. Our reading and approval of minutes of our city council meeting on November 16th. What's the pleasure of council? Okay, I have a motion for approval. Is there a second?
Second.
A second from Ms. King. Any discussion, corrections, adjustments? Hearing none, all those in favor of the minutes as submitted, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the minutes of November 16th are approved. Special called city council meeting minutes of December 7th, 2020. Pleasure of council.
Motion to approve is submitted.
I have a motion from Ms. King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. Kuzner. Any discussion, corrections, adjustments? Hearing none, all those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the minutes are approved as submitted. Next item on agenda is public comments. We have one person signed up, Mr. Thornton. If you'd like to speak, you come on up and speak and state your name and address, and we have 5 minutes.
I'm not going to take this long. I enjoyed that prayer. That was a beautiful prayer. What we're going to talk about, basically, what we've been talking about almost this year, and that is how lies hurt people, and how lies are not a representation of God. Matter of fact, Jesus and all of them talk about no liar will enter the kingdom of heaven. We also know that the 9th commandment is thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. And when people say things that are not true, it is harmful and detrimental to people's name and their character. One thing I noticed that until you've been lied upon, you do not know how it feels. When a whole race of people all their life have been lied on, false arrests, every day. Lies hurt, lies destroy, lies cause war, lies cause dysfunction, lies break up country, lies break up family, lies are not Christian. Lies are the work of the enemy. They are not the work of God. So as we work together, and we pledge allegiance to a flag. That flag has red, has white, and it has blue. And when people tell lies, it breaks up the unity of our country. Like I said, it causes war, it causes divisiveness. The NAACP has never, ever been a terrorist group. Never. And I'm still trying to fathom, why would someone say something so evil and wicked? And if the wrong people were to get that message, well, you know, we got to defend against the NAACP because they're wicked and they're a terrorist group and they're a threat to America. And they're going to harm America and they're going to hurt our great country. Osama bin Laden was a terrorist. The NAACP wasn't a terrorist. They had worked for the advancement of our people. They had worked for the advancement of colored people. They had worked for the advancement of women. They had worked for job equality. Bishop Zimmerman is the vice president of the NAACP, and he's no terrorist. Senator Anderson, the former Senator Anderson that passed away, he's no terrorist. So we always got to be conscientious of our words because words do have power. And like I said, we're going to be a great nation. Then we must learn how to honor people with truth. If you don't like someone, just say it. But you don't have to lie on them, nor their character, because each one of you every day work hard for your character. And to have someone degrade you or your character and demean you for something that's not true, that's not godly, and that's nor is that Christian. I'm gonna end with this, and it's gonna deal with masks. When I was a kid, I grew up watching superheroes. Batman wore a mask, Robin wore a mask, the Lone Ranger wore a mask, Zorro wore a mask, Spider wore a mask, Iron Man wore a mask. We're in a country now where some don't feel that they have a need to wear a mask, and we done lost over 300,000 people, all because someone's pride won't let them wear a mask. Doctors go out every day and save lives, and before they go in their operating room, they put on the mask so they won't get germs, so you can bring home your loved one. So I hope you encourage everyone this Christmas when they get together, please wear their mask. Thank you so very, very much, and may God bless you.
Thank you. No one else. Report from City Administrator, Mr. Madden.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of council, I do not have a report this evening.
Thank you, Mr. Madden. Email from our president of our Greater Mauldin Chamber, Ms. Pat Pomeroy, extended that she would not be able to attend tonight. She will provide us with a full report in January, and she wanted me to extend her wishes for all of you to have a Merry Christmas. So we thank Ms. Pomeroy for all that she does for us. Report from standing committees. Anything, any particular committee was to go down the list? Mr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have nothing major to report from our committee other than if you guys have been paying attention to the budget as we're about halfway through it. All the numbers throughout the city's departments are looking good, and that's a testament, obviously, to our department heads, which we sincerely appreciate through a year of question, starting the year off strongly and monitoring our budgets wisely. One other quick comment. I appreciate the department heads who stuck around for the committee meeting. Last committee, which was this past Monday night, we had a marathon meeting. I think we ended at about 11:30. So a few of us had to stick around for that. We appreciate that, especially in December, Mr. Mayor. That's all I had. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Public Safety, Ms. King?
I have nothing at this time. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Public Works, Mr. Crayley?
Nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Economic Planning and Development, Mr. Matney?
No report, Mayor.
Thank you, sir. Building Codes, Ms. Kuzner?
I have nothing to report, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. Recreation, Mr. Black. Thank you, Mr. Black. Okay, just a quick note for those of you in the audience, if you came in, the Mauldin report is laying over there. Be sure to pick up a copy of that. It gives a lot of good, exciting things going on in our city, especially during the last month. We're into unfinished business. There'll be ordinance second and final reading. First item comes from Building Services, Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is second reading for the small cell wireless facilities ordinance. We've kind of been going over this the past few months, so I'm sure that you're all familiar. At the October meeting, the Buildings Code Committee reviewed an updated draft ordinance that would permit the installation of small cell wireless facilities within the public right-of-way. The draft ordinance had been updated to incorporate comments from AT&T and also had been reviewed by the city attorney. I move at this time that we approve this on second reading. This ordinance for the small cell wireless facilities.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Kuzner. I have a second. I have a second from Mr. Black. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of second reading on the small cell wireless facilities ordinance say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion is approved. Second reading. Ordinance contract, Mr. Matney.
Thank you, Mayor. Move that we approve on second reading an ordinance to approve a contract with Parker Group Development LLC to sell real property owned by the city for the construction of a phase of City Center and to authorize the mayor to execute the contract, deed, and other documents necessary to carry out the terms of the contract.
Thank you, Mr. Matney. I have a motion for Mr. Matney. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Reynolds. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor to approve the contract as submitted and the motion that Mr. Matney made, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Faster than I can flip paper here. Next item is an ordinance for a lease. Also, Mr. Matney. Sorry about that.
Thank you, Mayor. Move that we approve on second reading an ordinance authorizing the lease of certain property in the city of Mauldin to Pop's Cabin Creamery LLC.
Have a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Have a second from Ms. King. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. We now move to new business ordinance on first reading. First item is an annexation from Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an annexation of properties at Standing Springs Road and Union Church Road. There are 3 parcels. We'll go through each one. The first one is owned by Henry Pack Williman Jr. Revocable Trust. It's located at 36 Union Church Road. It's currently zoned RM20 in the county. The requested zoning is going to be R10 residential upon annexation. It's approximately 45.5 acres. This tract is, well, all 3 of these tracts are directly contiguous to the Sunny Hill Cottages subdivision, which was annexed into the city of Mauldin on February 18th, 2019, and to the Meadow Springs subdivision, which was annexed into the city of Mauldin on July 15th, 2019. These will be added to the Sunny Hill Cottages subdivision. The applicant has requested that this tract be zoned R10 residential upon annexation into the city of Mauldin. All utilities are available, including water and sewer. REWA has a main line that runs along the Reedy River, and the developer has already acquired the necessary easements to tie into this line. The city of Mauldin anticipates owning and maintaining new sewer lines constructed as part of any development project on these tracts. Approvals for sewer will be required before any proposed development is approved. This tract is currently located in the South Greenville Fire District. On February 18th, 2019, the City Council approved an automatic aid agreement with the South Greenville Fire District that will trigger fire response to this tract from the South Greenville Fire District. At this time, I move that we approve on first reading the annexation and rezoning of this particular tract, 36 Union Church Road.
We have a motion, Ms. Kuznar. Is there a second?
Second.
We have a second for Mr. Matney. Any discussion? All those in favor of the first reading for annexation of 36 Union Church Road, say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Ms. Kuznar?
Thank you. Okay, so the second parcel is owned by Union Baptist Church at Greenville. It's located at 50 Union Church Road. It is currently zoned RMA in the county and is requested R10 residential upon annexation. It's approximately 1.1 acres. And again, it's going to be added to the Sunny Hill Cottages subdivision. So at this time, I make a motion on first reading to approve the annexation and rezoning of 50 Union Church Road.
I have a motion, Ms. Kuznar. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Black. Any discussion? All those in favor of first reading annexation 50 Union Church Road, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Back to you, Ms. Kuznar.
Thank you. Okay, so the next one is Fork Shoal is owned by Fork Shoals Holdings LLC. It is located at 2152 Standing Springs Road. It's currently RM20 RS in the county. Again, it's requested to be rezoned to R10 residential. It's approximately 15.6 acres, and it will be added to the Sunny Hill Cottages subdivision. And I move on first reading to annex and rezone 2152 Standing Springs Road.
I have a motion from Ms. Kuznar. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Black. Any discussion? All those in favor of first reading annexation of 2152 Standing Springs Road, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Back to you, Ms. Kuznar.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, now we have annexation of properties at Perimeter Road and Fork Shoals Road. This is first reading. Again, there are 3 parcels. The first is Ashmore Bridge, or the owner is Ashmore Bridge LLC. The location is Ashmore Bridge Road and Fork Shoals Road. Its current zoning is C1 in the county. Its requested zoning is C2 commercial. It's approximately 8 acres. This tract is directly contiguous to the Arden Woods subdivision, which was annexed into the city of Mauldin on May 20th, 2019. These petitions include approximately 31 acres owned by various individuals and is located at Perimeter Road and Fork Shoals Road. The applicant has requested that this tract be zoned to C2 commercial upon annexation into the city of Mauldin. The applicant intends to construct a Sphinx gas station convenience store on a portion of this tract and market the remainder of the tract for commercial development such as a grocery store. All utilities are available, including water and sewer. Both REWA and Metro Connects have some sewer lines in the vicinity. This tract is currently located in the South Greenville Fire District. On February 18th, 2019, the City Council approved an automatic aid agreement with the South Greenville Fire District that will trigger fire response to this tract from the South Greenville Fire District. At this time, I make a motion on first reading to annex and rezone Ashmore Bridge Road and Fork Shoals Road tract of approximately 8 acres.
We have a motion, Ms. Kuznar. Is there a second? Second with Mr. Black. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of first reading of the Ashmore Bridge Road and Fork Shoals Road annexation via Ashmore Bridge LLC, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, motion carries. Back to you, Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The next tract is owned by William C. Williman. It is at Fort Shoals Road. It's currently zoned RS in the county. They're requesting C2 commercial upon annexation. It's approximately 10 acres. And on first reading, I would make a motion that we approve the annexation of the properties at Perimeter Road and Fort Shoals Road of approximately 10 acres.
Okay, Ms. Kuzner, the next two are the same owner and contiguous.
Yeah, we'll put
Do
those
that
two
one.
together. The other one's at Perimeter Road. It's also currently zoned RS in the county, and the requested zoning is C2 commercial and is approximately 13 acres. So I'll move to put those two together in annexation of the properties at Perimeter Road and Fort Shoals Road.
Okay, I have a motion, Ms. Kuzner. Is there a second? Second, Mr. Black. Any discussion? Mr. Dugan.
Mr. Mayor, just for the record, although you're approving these on one reading, they are two separate ordinances, and I only want the historic record to reflect that.
Okay. So I only have one ordinance for those two properties. Is my packet out of order, or is that, we have one?
It is only one ordinance, given the fact it's two only, that would be
Okay, all right. So we have before us then a motion on first reading for an ordinance to approve two properties with one owner, William C. Williman on Fork Shoals Road, and then the other one on Perimeter Road. And a second for Mr. Black. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, annexation motion carries. Thank you, Ms. Cooper. Back to you, Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is first reading of an annexation of city-owned property at Plant Street in West Butler. It's currently zoned RS in the county. The requested zoning is C2 commercial. It's approximately 2.23 acres. This tract is directly contiguous to the Glen Eagle Apartments and the Midgard Self-Storage Facility, both of which are located within the city limits of Mauldin. The applicant has requested that this tract be zoned C2 commercial upon annexation into the city of Mauldin. The applicant intends to construct a fire station on this tract. All utilities are available, including water and sewer. The city of Mauldin has a sewer line located at West Butler Road. This tract is currently located in the Mauldin Fire Service area, and this tract will continue to be served by the Mauldin Fire Department. At this time, I make a motion to annex this piece of property at Plant Street and West Butler into the city on first reading.
Second.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Patney. Any discussion? All those in favor of the motion to annex and rezone the property on Plant Street and West Butler, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. I think you get to rest, Ms. Kuzner. You get to rest for just a minute.
Oh, I get to rest for a minute. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Now, under standing committee items, item 9A is fiscal year 2021 grants coming from finance. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If you turn to your packets on page 147, this item actually came out of committee in September with a recommendation of approval. It was unanimous approval. This is strictly an accounting mechanism. I actually thought we had taken care of this when we did our budget amendment in September, but we didn't. So upon further review, we realized we need to have this on the agenda so that when Finance Department receives grants, they can accept them and apply them to our budget. So with that said, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the grants proposed in your packet.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. I have a motion from Mr. Reynolds to accept our grants as submitted. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. King. Any discussion?
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just further discussion, there's no new funding required for this or anything to that nature. It's strictly an accounting mechanism for the city. In next year's budget, we'll have all of these in the budget packet. Is that correct, Mr. Madden?
That's correct.
Thank you. That's all, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Any other discussion? Hearing none, those all in favor of the motion to accept the grants as submitted to our budget, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Motion carries 7-0. Mr. Reynolds, Planning Commission, Ms. Kuzner.
Mayor, Mr. Kuzner, if I may, just so it's clear on the video and audio recording, if you could turn your mic on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No problem at all.
Do I need to start over?
You haven't made a motion, so
Okay.
We need a motion, or we just need present the name and then council vote?
that's correct.
For the record, you probably want to state the gentleman's name as the candidate for the vacant position.
Okay, so Mr. Sofield has applied for the Planning Commission opening. And the Planning Commission is, they're going to begin their work on the comprehensive plan. So that's why this application is before you in your packet this evening. So I would like to make a motion to accept his application for the Planning Commission.
Okay, Mr. Sofield has been recommended by the committee for the Planning Commission member. If each council member would vote yes or no and pass that to Mr. Madden. I don't believe we need a motion. We'll give it a minute for our voting machine to tally the votes.
Uh, Is it unanimously in favor? Let's just go.
Thank you, Mr. Madden. Thank you, Ms. Kuzner. Kuzner, sorry, I keep doing. Okay, next item on the agenda is medical benefits. Mr. Reynolds. Whoop. Oh, I checked the wrong one off. Sorry about that. Back to Ms. Kuzner.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Okay, this is the procedures for appointing boards and commission members. As part of the discussion of candidates for current openings on the Planning Commission and the Building and Zoning Board of Appeals, The Building Codes Committee discussed the procedures by which it appoints volunteers to the Board of Appeals and Planning Commission. This discussion at its October 5th meeting included discussion of interviewing candidates and qualifications for candidates. This discussion carried over to the October 19th meeting of the City Council, where the council expressed interest in the Building Codes Committee working on a more formal procedure for appointing applicants to the Planning Commission and Board of Appeals. At its November 1st meeting, the Building Codes Committee continued to discuss a draft policy for appointing volunteers to the Board of Appeals and Planning Commission. At that meeting, the committee asked if a minimum residency period would be acceptable qualification for appointment to the Planning Commission or Board of Appeals. The city's legal counsel has indicated that this could be an acceptable qualification. There's a draft policy in your packet. And so the procedures for appointment would be summarized as first, they would advertise the openings, then receive applications, interviews by Building Codes Committee, recommendation by Building Codes Committee, and appointment by City Council. I move that we accept these procedures for appointing boards and commission members.
We have a motion from Ms. Kuzner. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Mr. Kraling. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the procedures for appointing board and commission members, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Now we're at D. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is page 160 on your packet. It's pertaining to the health insurance for the city. I know Mr. Putnam probably feels like he started working on this in March of 2020. That culmination is now. So we appreciate your hard work. Mr. Putnam, where are you? There you are. Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the renewal of the 2021 health insurance, as well as reinvest the savings realized this year into a program for next year to reduce the monthly out-of-pocket costs for employees with dependent coverage. And then I'll have a comment and discussion.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. I have a motion to accept the city's health insurance renewal for the 2021 calendar year. All those, is there a second?
Second.
Second for Ms. King. Any discussion? Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to point out this came out of committee with unanimous approval. And certainly we appreciate Mr. Putnam's hard work on this, as well as I hope the employees will see the investment in the employees that's coming from City Council, that we'd like to continue to provide a high quality work environment and continue to provide the best health care that we can. Thank you, Mr. Putnam. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Is it also worth noting that due to the great record we had this year, that there was a significant cost savings to the city, and we're going to take a portion of that. I think it's in the motion to
It was, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
offset the increase for family coverage next year for our employees. And a little extra benefit coming from the council as far as offsetting that, where we don't see a cost increase to our employees next year. Did I state that correctly? Ms. King, I'm sorry.
There
Correct me.
wasn't actually a cost increase, but with the savings, it's proposed to reinvest $100 per month to the folks that have dependent coverage and or spouse. If you're an employee, as a reminder, employees of the city of Mauldin do not have any cost for their health insurance. It's picked up 100% by the city. So that's why those folks are not included in this reinvestment portion. It's a one-time deal, and if we have a large savings next year, we're hoping that we can do the same thing. But hopefully this will be something that I feel like our employees can benefit from by lowering their out-of-pocket cost for those individuals, which is less than 40 employees, I think. Is that correct, Mr. Putnam? So.
Good. Thank you, Ms. King.
Sir.
Keep me straight. Any other discussion? All those in favor of the motion, the acceptance of the city's health insurance renewal for the 2021 calendar year, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Back to you, Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'm actually going to ask that we send this next item. It was a standing committee rules change to allow for committee meetings to be held in council chambers. I had a couple other items I wanted to have Mr. Madden look at as we move forward in January, and this just isn't a pertinent item right this second. So to make it a little easier in the next meeting, I'd like to make a motion that we send this back to committee.
Okay, I have a motion from Mr. Reynolds to return amendments to standing committee rule back to finance committee. Is there a second?
Second.
I have a second from Ms. Kuzner. Any discussion? Mr. Matney.
Thank you, Mr. Matney. Nothing major, just as we were talking with the video conferencing, looking at options like that. Mr. Madden and I had discussed some other ways to shorten the length of our committee meetings, be that have multiple meetings, multiple days, or something to that effect. I thought it'd be cleaner to have everything come through all at once. Nothing major, though.
Thank you, Mr. Matney. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of motion to return this to committee, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, returns to finance committee. Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Next item F, security cameras. Ms. King.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an item that has already been budgeted in the current budget that we're in. We appropriated $80,000 to upgrade our interior and exterior security cameras within City Hall. So at this time, we just need to award the bid. So I make a motion to award the bid for the interior and exterior security camera upgrades for City Hall to Encore Technology Group.
Okay, I have a motion from Ms. King. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Black. Any discussion? Ms. King.
Sorry, Mr. Mayor, I failed to say that we budgeted $80,000, but the bid came in way under that, which is a little shy of $40,000.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to accept and award the bid for interior exterior security camera City Hall to Encore Technology Group, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, Ms. King. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve the mutual aid agreement. It's the, let me back up, a county-wide mutual aid agreement for our fire protection and related services.
Thank you, Ms. King. I have a motion from Ms. King. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Mr. Crayling. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of approval of the countywide mutual aid agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, Ms. King. GLDC participation, Mr. Crayling.
Yes, this is a request to participate in the, get this right, Greenville Legislation Delegation Transportation Committee's mutual matching funds for resurfacing and repairing the roads here in Mauldin. With that, we'll be receiving just shy of $192,000 in matching funds to add to the current budget of $2.7 million for road repairs for 2021.
I have a motion from Mr. Crayling to accept the approval of the participation agreement for GLDTC participation. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Ms. King. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to accept the GLDTC participation agreement, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carried. Thank you, Mr. Crayling. I, City Park, Mr. Black.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This is an item that went through committee and it's involving repaving the parking lot at the city park, the entire parking lot. Now, when this came through committee, I think the figure was 166, and since then, there's been some changes. And I'd like to ask Mr. Brandon Madden to explain this after the committee had accepted to send this to committee and council. There's been some changes in there and things added to it. Would you like to explain that, Mr. Madden?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Black, members of council. Um, if you go to page 190 of your agenda packet, it provides a narrative on the differences from when this was forwarded from committee to now. Essentially, we went back on site with Patagakis. They reviewed the scope of the project and included the 900 feet of additional curbing that would need to be repaired. The cost for that increased about $33,000. So that additional cost was added into the total cost for the bid. So if council awarded this bid to Patagakis, it would be based on that amount. So that's what's before you now.
Is the entire 900-foot curbing need to be replaced? I know we talked about some of it is bad, defective, missing. Is this replacing all of it or just 900 feet of what's existing?
This will be replacing the 900 feet that has been identified as needing to be repaired. So there may be a chance that it's less than that, but this is a conservative number. We don't expect it to exceed 900 feet of curbing.
I noticed in the bid, even with the 900 feet on their unit price of the curbing, it's more than the other vendor, but it still comes in lower than the other vendor for the total price of the project. Is that correct?
It does. Now there's so that is clear. This is Patagakis bid is based on us not having to do subgrade repairing. So we're basing on the fact that we think or we estimate that the base there is in good condition.
So this 199, 517 is the total, not to exceed for Patagakis, correct?
It's the total. Yeah, it's the total. It's a conservative amount. It's the total. If there are any changes to that, staff would obviously bring that back before council before moving forward. If it goes up higher than that,
And the financing would be the capital project budget, is that correct?
that's correct.
Thank you, Mr. Brandon. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we award the bid to Patagakis paving for the curbing and the parking lot at City Park in the amount of 199,517. And this includes replacing up to 900 foot of defective curbing. I'll put that in form of motion.
We have a motion for Mr. Black. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. Kuzner. Any discussion?
Yes. This is just a question for Mr. Madden. If I remember correctly, that there was the second quote was for like, I believe, 220,000 and included going down beyond the base is 8 inches of depth versus 4 inches. And included some of this. I'm just wondering, when we looked at that price, we had to do when we added the 900 feet and went back and only did the 4-inch deep. Did we ever do an apples to apples comparison after this came out?
So the evaluation committee considered both items, both bids, and Patagakis was the highest recommended bidder, meaning that the committee felt that Patagakis will provide a cost savings to the city, whereas the second vendor just gave a flat rate. Although it is more expensive, considering that the base should be in good condition, Patagakis will probably provide a cost savings to the city, whereas the other group would just give you a flat price.
So other considerations were also taken when choosing this vendor.
Yeah, that's correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Craven. Any other questions? Mr. Black?
Mr. Mayor, just for the record, on the second vendor, their per unit price on curbing was less than what Patagakis was, but even with
Mr. Black. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of awarding the bid for repaving the asphalt parking lot at City Park to Panagacas, say aye.
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 Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carried.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's all we have in recommendation.
Thank you, Mr. Black. Next item, Committee of the Whole request council to consider that an informal method. Mr. Reynolds?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to make a motion that we consider item 10A under Committee of the Whole items under the informal method.
I have a motion to consider 10A as informal method of Committee of the Whole for Mr. Reynolds. Is there a second?
Second.
Second for Ms. King. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Here none, we will consider item 10A informally as Committee of the Whole. Mr. Reynolds.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Before I make my motion, I'd like to take a moment just to thank Mr. Madden for the past year's service. I was not on board when Mr. Madden was hired by the previous city council and just want to extend my appreciation really to that council because they made a fantastic choice. I've watched Mr. Madden guide the city through one of the most challenging things both people personally have dealt with, municipalities have dealt with, and businesses have dealt with, and he did it coolly and thoughtfully, and with plan of action that was just inspiring to me. So I appreciated this past year's service, and have sincerely enjoyed working with you, Mr. Madden. I'm gonna let Mr. Matney express with his wordsmithing ways everybody else's appreciation, but that was my humble way to thank you for this past year's service. And with that said, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion authorizing you to sign a contract with Mr. Madden for administrative services to the city.
Thank you, Mr. Reynolds. Motion to extend a employment contract to Mr. Madden. Is there a second?
Second.
Second.
Fight over it, guys.
Well, that was quartet, so we'll pick one. Mr. Crayland, I looked at him first. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of accepting the extension of contract to Mr. Madden, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, like sign. Hearing none, the motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Madden. We are back to public comment. There was no additional person signed up for the general public comment, so we're good there. Any council request? Hearing none, what's the pleasure of council on adjournment? Got a motion from Mr. Madden, a second?
Second.
Second, Ms. King. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We are now adjourned at approximately 7:49.
We probably should have done a Merry Christmas from us and council.